Welcome to Approach Pod, where we dive deep into the minds of elite performers from all walks of life. Today, Peyton Stovall of the Cincinnati Reds and Arkansas Razorbacks joins us to share his experience as a top-tier collegiate athlete and early round draft selection. Through success, adversity, and everything in between, Peyton's journey is one that I most definitely draw inspiration from. He has an incredibly bright future, and I'm grateful that our paths crossed at this point in our careers.
What's going on? How are instructs going?
It's going good, dude. It's honestly like pretty easy, kind of from what I've gathered from everybody else, like that have gone through it, and some of the guys at the facility. It's like an easier instructs this year, so it's been good though. It's just been like 15, 20 minute stations, and some of the stations are like you're talking to like the nutritionist and stuff like that. But it's been good. So
Yeah, that was kind of what they did last year with us, bro. It was honestly really chill. I think we play. Yeah, are y'all playing 3 times a week this year?
yeah, we're playing 3 times a week, but it's like so we're only playing like two teams. It's like the Brewers and Padres, and then the third game we're just doing like a sim game, like an inter squad, and it'll be like 4 innings. So it's like not bad at all.
Yeah, bro. I think we were doing last year. That's definitely different than how we did it. At least my year that I went, bro. We were like three inter squad or not three inter squads, three games a week against other teams, and then we would inter squad 4 or 5 innings, like 1 or 2 times a week, bro. So that's nice. That's real nice.
For
How's
sure.
yeah, bro. Is it going well though? You playing good?
Yeah, I think for me, like, especially being in Arizona, like I struggled and when I got drafted, like kind of during draft camp and bridge camp because I was like a different environment. Like there was like, there's like 10 people there. And it's like the coaches, like there's nobody there. So it's like I was like just trying to focus on like doing everything perfectly with my swing, like mechanically wise. Like I'd go up to the plate and I'm like trying to load at this time, trying to like get my foot down at this time. It's like you just can't hit like that. And so, like
Yeah.
going to Daytona and stuff and then coming back has really helped. And I just go out there and just try to play and just try to hit and treat it like a real game. So it's been a lot better, but definitely swinging it a lot better in
Yeah.
instructs than I did before.
Yeah, and I think just being a little further into it than you are, I think just coming from, like you said, like coming from the environments that we played in to what it is in pro ball, especially at the levels that are lower, it's people think that it's like just a skill thing when you get to the minor leagues and like the development side and just the sense of the higher you go up, the better the competition is. But there definitely is like an element to it that I found that it's also the environment. It's you're not playing with the same guys you have for the past 3 years. You're not playing in front of 10,000 fans every night, bro. It's you go and sometimes you're lucky if you get like 100 fans at your games, or at least in the league that or the Florida State League in some of these stadiums as you saw. But yeah, and even instructs, dude, like it's just different, bro. Like instructs is different too because I felt like the difference between instructs and spring training was that instructs it felt like way more about just development, but then spring training it was like you had that extra little like all right, it's time to go just because you're trying to win a job and trying to put yourself in a good position to start off the year. So, what would you say has been the biggest difference, just in term, or maybe that is the biggest difference in terms of um, coming from Arkansas, one of the top programs in the country, one of the best, if not the best, environments in the country, to professional baseball? What would you say the difference would be? Maybe from a skill standpoint, maybe from a pitching side, maybe from, I mean, obviously the stands isn't probably it obviously isn't the same, but what do you got for me?
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing that sticks out for me, would be like the coaching. That's like a really big thing with me that I've noticed a lot. It's like in college, it's honestly, dude, like you know how it is. Like it's like you're gonna do it this certain way.
Yeah,
All 40 guys are gonna do it this certain way. And for me, kind of what I've noticed is like at the end of the day, like it's your career. Like you do what you want to do with it. And
right.
like if you want to go in there and the weight room and not work out and just kind of be in there, then like that's on you. But I think like going to college and getting that experience, the maturity, like I'm a completely different player than I was coming out of high school versus now. And so like just having that like discipline and maturity is like something that I really, really needed. And that was big for me. That's a big thing is the coaching. I think also too, like, another big thing is it's like even in college, even in like the SEC, like you have your top end guys, you have the guys out of the bullpen and stuff, but typically kind of later in the innings on Sunday, it's like, okay, you're facing a guy maybe that's doesn't have as much stuff. He's throwing a little bit more
Yeah,
fastballs with lower velo. And it's like, dude, you're facing Friday night guys, coming out of the bullpen, and there's no,
every arm.
yeah, it's not like you're up 15 to nothing and they're throwing a guy who's, 86, 87, just trying to get to the next day. It's like this dude's probably upper 90s to mid 90s, and he's got a plus pitch, a secondary, and that's
Yeah, bro.
definitely the biggest thing. But yeah, those two things for sure. I've definitely noticed outside of, obviously the environment, stuff like that, but definitely like the coaching has been something that I've really, really noticed. It's like it's your career, like
Yeah,
if you don't like something, then you tell them that, you let them know. Especially when it comes to like the hitting side, I know, and I appreciate that, like you as a hitter
yeah,
and
bro.
and guys that, are able to really hit. It's like not everything works for every single person. Like that one specific thing might not work for you, but it might work for me and vice versa. And so like I think for me, like that's like kind of something that I've really like noticed that's different in pro ball.
Yeah, bro. 100%. No, that's awesome. Yeah, dude, it's just everybody's experience is so different collegiately, and I was really fortunate that colleges that I went to that it definitely. I was at Arizona State and then I was at A&M, but I went to A&M because of the hitting coach. That was one of the biggest reasons. And then he's now the head coach there. But he tried honestly, dude, because I think he had such a good feel and has such a good feel just because he played professionally for a good amount of time. I think 4 or 5 years, and he was pretty good in the minor. I mean, he was. I think he hit like anywhere from 10 to 20 homers each year, and I mean, hit around upper 200s and low 300s, which I'm realizing is pretty
Yeah.
ridiculous. Um, but but I mean, he did such a good job, dude, that about just keeping it individualized. And I mean, definitely in college, there were certain things that you have to kind of have a system in place just because it's hard to coach 20 something guys and, with the hour constraints. But yeah, man, that was something that Mike definitely helped me out a lot with. But no, that's awesome, dude. So you come from Arkansas, you have an All American year, your junior year, and you have that month break kind of because the draft is so late now, and you get into pro ball. What was the big? So the biggest thing you noticed. What was the one thing that you learned in the short stint that you're going to take with you coming into the next year?
I think, for me, I'd say like you don't have to like it's not about like going in there and like I didn't really even honestly like even at Arkansas like I really like never really truly understood it until like these past couple months in pro ball. It's like you don't have to just like beat yourself into the ground with practice, whether that's 150 swings, like 150
Yeah,
ground balls. Like you don't have to do that. Like just because you're not swinging for 2 hours and stuff like that doesn't mean that you're not putting in the work. I honestly like really didn't truly understand that until I did get into pro ball. And it's like, we'll go in there and, take 50 swings. And it's like, if you're good, you're good. And there's some guys who, if you're hot, like you take 20 swings, it feels good. Like you get out and nobody says a word. And I think
you're
that's
ready to
like,
roll.
that's huge. I think like for me, like that was definitely something that even like when I do go into the off season, like I'm gonna take it's like, hey, like I don't have to just kill myself trying to figure out my swing. Like I know some days it's not gonna feel great. And that's just something that you have to work towards. But definitely like the more quality over quantity part when it does come to practice. And then also another big thing was having the opportunity to go to Daytona and kind of just like playing every day and like not really practicing like
Yeah,
we're just kind of playing every day, dude. I think I didn't realize like how hard it is. Like I mean, to just go out there and you can't just expect like 2 for 4, 3 for 4, 4 for 4. Like it's unrealistic. And I've always kind of put like super high expectations on myself, and it's like okay, 2-1 fastball, I just missed it. And it's like, why did I just miss that? Well, maybe it's just because your body's a little tired. Like it happens. And so that's like a big thing I'm going to take into next year and spring training and, getting ready for next season is like, like you're going to have those bad games. Like you got to be okay with it or you're not going to succeed at this level. So that's really something that I've noticed and I've kind of made peace with myself is like, hey, like, it's not going to be just you're going to go out there and pick up a bat and get multiple hits. Like you got to grind it out and get to the next day. And so yeah, I think those two are the biggest things that I'm definitely going to take into next year.
Yeah, bro. I mean, it takes a really long time to have a good or a bad season. And especially, dude, what I realize exactly what you're saying, man, is like it's playing every day. Because early on in the year, I wasn't playing every day and I was playing like once a week. So I was kind of in the pitcher mindset, dude, where if I didn't have a good game, and I was doing it from a hitter side where if I didn't have a good game, bro, I wasn't having another AB for 3, 4 days. So I had to just sit on it. And a lot of the time I remember, dude, I was getting taken out for pinch hitters and like just stuff that I have just not been accustomed to, bro.
Yeah.
Like just stuff that I've just never been through. And eventually I started playing better later in the season, but dude, I was sitting like 160 in late May and I ended up turning in a pretty dang good year. And the thing I took away from that, bro, was like I can prepare all I want or do all I want, but like the bottom line is like I can only control so much, and especially in that league that you and I were playing in, where it's such like a pitcher friendly league, and there are so many balls that you're going to hit 100 miles an hour that are just going to find a glove just because the ball doesn't go anywhere. Like that was another thing too. I had to just realize, bro, it was like we're not hitting with metal anymore, playing at freaking like just launch pads in the SEC, dude. Like it actually is real baseball. And it's like it's not gonna go our way every single time. But
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
man, that's
I think kind of to add to what you're saying, like two things when I was in Daytona was like I remember talking to our hitting coach Nate, and like I'm sitting there, and I had like a good first week, and then kind of after that there was like a big over stretch, and you just see it, like you just see your average going down and down and down, and next thing you know, it's like under 200, and you're like, dude, like, am I even good enough to play? Like, what's happening? And I remember him having like a conversation with me, and because I always be like, dude, like, what's wrong? What's happening? What's happening? And I remember him having a conversation with me, and one thing that he said that kind of really stuck out to me was he was like, JMO did the same thing. Like, he was struggling really bad early, and he just stuck with it, and he kept grinding, and he started to realize like how hard it is to play every day, and he started to accept like that failure. And like when he kind of said that to me, and obviously like you brought it up and you started doing really really good, and kind of when he like said that, I was like, okay, like this is like normal, like it's just it's a different environment, like
yeah,
it's like real, it's not college baseball, like it's real baseball. And that's definitely something that kind of to your point, like I definitely like saw that. And then like another thing, dude, kind of like you talked about, like you're gonna line out, like that's happened, like it happens. And so like for me, it's
yeah,
like baseball is so hard, and so when I do get to, I do put put a good swing on a ball and say it's 100 or whatever, it's like I'll get mad because I'm like, well, that should be a hit. Baseball's hard, you know what I mean? Like, but then like you, like and like this is kind of like a guy, like me, like seeing you how you played this year and stuff, like being able to play with you and stuff, like you would hit a ball, and like you never once when I was there got mad when you would line out. Like you were like you it was awesome. Like it was really cool to see that, and I was like, okay, this is the way to act. This is the way to do it. Like the game knows like you did everything right and you were still out. Like you can't do anything else. You can only control what you did, and
yeah,
you were, you know what I mean? Like you were on time, like everything. So, but no, that's
yeah.
good.
Well, bro, I appreciate you saying that, but I promise you, I was not thinking that in my head. Dude, like after like the fifth one in the last like 3 games, you're just like, it gets a little frustrating. And I don't know, dude. I also had a couple hundred ABs, and at that point, my average really wasn't doing anything. I was like, dude, whatever, bro. And you get to that point in the year where you're just like, it is what it is, and you just keep hitting the ball hard
Yeah,
just
no,
because
I mean, it's a good
I don't
thing
know,
though.
you're
Like
playing.
you might have not thought that, like in your head, obviously, like you were like, okay, like you were, getting upset about it or getting mad because like you're like that should be a hit, like you did everything right. But like to your teammates
Oh
and
yeah,
everybody around you, it looked like you were okay. Like you did everything right. Like you couldn't control that. And I think that's huge. It's like being like a really good leader and like a great teammate. It's like the guys around you see that, whether you like know it or not. And it's like that helped. I mean, that helped me tremendously. It's like, okay, like, dude, I can't get mad if I line out. Like, it's part of the game. It's baseball. Like, good hitters line out. And so, like, for me, like,
Yeah,
just seeing that, even though like your body language showed it, you know what I mean? So, like, it was definitely big.
I appreciate that, man. Um, so we're gonna kind of go off that point. So we're gonna backtrack now just to your days at Arkansas. Obviously, a really successful career. You battled through some injuries, some, as we were talking, kind of just getting to know each other in the season. You battled just in your earlier freshman year. You were a absolute stud coming out of high school. Could have gone to the draft. Could have gotten paid a ton of money out of high school. But you chose Arkansas. You chose the collegiate route. Um, you were picked a team captain twice, I believe. And I think how y'all do it is peers, correct? Like
Yeah.
teammates pick you.
Yeah.
So so you go in and your freshman year, we'll just talk a little bit about that, man. Just because I know a lot of guys that, come in, and I was one of them, dude, that I came in and put a ton of expectations, pressure on myself at Arizona State, and I was coming out the gate. I was playing once every 3 games, same deal. Like I was when I wouldn't play well my first couple at bats, I'd get taken out of the game, pinch hit for all that stuff. And I know how I handled it, and some of that time, or especially early on, it wasn't exactly what you just described when I'd line out in pro ball. But um, how did you handle that, man? Like, because I know that playing at Arkansas, or really a lot of these SEC schools, dude, like there's a lot of expectation, man. Like there's a lot of pressure. Like when you're not playing well, you're not, it might not be from your team that you hear it from, but there's chatter and voices that come from around you. And so how did you go about handling that?
Yeah, I think for me, so kind of like you said, like my freshman year, I came in and I've really dealt with some injuries throughout like my college career, but dude, it's actually crazy. My first day I'm at Arkansas, I'm going to hit with Robert Moore, and I'm like pumped up. It's like, dude, it's Robert. Like he's like an All-American, like like you see him on TV, like hitting these late inning homers, like Mr. Clutch at Arkansas, and he texts me like reaching out to him. I'm like, dude, like let's do it. I'm not even kidding you. The first day I get to Arkansas, I we go in the cages and we're hitting whatever. About 30 minutes in, I kind of feel like my side like it just didn't feel right. Something like didn't feel great,
Man,
dude. Second to last swing, I or I guess it was my last swing, really. My last swing, dude, of the day. Like I'm like, all right, I'm done. Something didn't feel right. I hit one and I strained my oblique. First day I'm there. So I'm like, dude, like I'm like I don't know like I haven't even met the trainer. Like I'm like freaking out because I'm like, dude, like I'm coming into this place and like first day I get hurt, like all this stuff. But yeah, so I was actually out like the first month and a half from that, from fall, dealing with that. But yeah, so kind of, I go in and I come back from that injury and I end up, I end up having a pretty good fall. And so I knew like kind of when I had that good fall, I was like, okay, like I got a chance to, contribute as a freshman. I got a chance to, help out my team and do and make like honestly like start. I was like, I got a chance. Like I can do this. And
right.
um, so we go in and you have your scrimmages leading up before the season starts. You have like your 9 or 10 scrimmages, whatever, and you're inter squadding and well then they start coming out with like all these like preseason accolades and I haven't even played an inning of college baseball. Like, dude, I haven't played an inning of college baseball. And they have like this preseason, freshman of the year in the SEC freshman of the year. They have this like preseason All-American. And I'm like seeing all this. And like at the moment, it's
It's a
like
lot.
cool. It's like, dude, this is cool. Like maybe I might be pretty good at baseball, like kind of thing. Like it was like a pretty cool moment. And, um,
Yeah.
well, then the season starts, and dude, first game, hitting leadoff, 18 years old, and I just turned 19, so I turned
Yeah.
19 like 2 or 3 days before the season, and so and we have a really old team that year. Pretty much every single guy that came back was a returner, and then I think 2 guys were like a transfer, but or they were
Yeah.
fifth year transfers, but. Yeah, so I go
Right.
in, dude, and it's like a 1 for 20 stretch, like right out the gate. And then I'm starting to feel it, dude. I remember
Yeah, bro.
we go to Round Rock, and this is like the sixth or seventh game of the year. It's the Round Rock. It's like the Carbach Classic or whatever. I will never forget this. Like we're playing. So I've started like the first 5 or 6 games and of the year, and then like I'm hitting like 120, like striking out like a lot. Like I'm panicking, dude. Like I'm getting sped up, huge environment.
I
I'm
know the
just
feeling, dude.
it's tough, and I was really starting to feel it, and I remember because it's honestly like it was the first time in my life where like I looked at the lineup and like I wasn't in it. Like I wasn't playing. And it was like I remember the feeling, dude. Like my world, like I felt like the smallest human being. Like I thought all my teammates were looking at me. It's
Yeah.
like, dude, like I'm not playing anymore. Like all this hype, all this stuff around me, and like I'm not playing. I was freaking out, dude. Like I remember, like I wasn't a great teammate. That game, like it was a lot of stuff looking back that like I've just like grown so much from. But yeah, so I remember Coach Van Horn. He kind of came up to me and he was like, "Hey, like." A couple days after we were in practice, he was like, "Hey, we got you back in the leadoff spot for this midweek. Like, just go out there and play. Like, everybody knows what you can do. You wouldn't be in the lineup. I wouldn't have you up there if I didn't know what you can do." And that helped me a lot. And then I remember my first at
Yeah.
bat that game. It was like a 12 or 13 pitch at bat to lead off the game, and I struck out. But like, it was like it felt good. Like it was like 12, 13 pitches. Like I did my job as a leadoff batter. Like I saw a bunch of pitches, and even though I didn't get on base, like I still did, what I needed to do to get that starter out of the game, stuff like that. And then that's kind of in the preseason, or I guess pre-SEC is kind of where it like really took off for me before SEC play started. I hit a home run that game, and just
Yeah.
everything kind of clicked. It just kind of came together. I brought my average all the way up. I got it to around like 320, 330, and I'm like, okay, like I'm good. Like I'm back. Like this is me.
Right.
And then, dude, all over again, SEC play starts, and it's a different animal than what your non-conference games are. And I'm like,
Yep.
these guys are coming out here. I mean, I'm striking out 2 or 3 times. On a Friday night, I'm ending up with like 6 strikeouts, 6, 7 strikeouts on the weekends, and I'm like, dude, like what's like here it goes again. And kind of like you mentioned about like
Yeah.
you're starting to hear stuff. I'm getting on Twitter, dude, and people are saying that other people should be playing, and maybe I need to
Yeah.
sit the bench and that stuff. Like you say all you want about like athletes and stuff, and that it doesn't bother you. It does. Like seeing that stuff bothers you and it gets to you. And so I remember
Yeah, bro.
actually my most favorite teammates, like best teammate you could ever have. One of my really good friends, Caden Wallace. He's gonna play in the big leagues here in a little bit, but he's the best guy you could ever meet. I remember him telling me, "Hey, dude, like you need to let's get you off social media." So like I deleted Twitter, I deleted all my social media, so I didn't have to see that. And so I'm still struggling in conference play, whatever, whatever. And I remember, so we're going through pregame, and it was against Ole Miss, and I wasn't playing this game, so we were facing a lefty. Dude, I'm hitting like a buck 20 off lefties, like for the year, like it's bad. And I'm not playing this game against the lefty, okay? And so we're doing ground balls, and I take one.
Right.
I go to take a ground ball with like 2 hands, just kind of like this, like your normal like 2 hands, and the ball comes up and hits me in the finger, and so it like halfway peels off my fingernail, and so like I'm like can't even like pick up a bat, and so I'm like okay, like obviously like this is gonna take a little bit, so I didn't play for like 2 weeks, dude, and oh yeah, and kind of where I'm getting at this story, one of my best friends and Kendall Diggs, who's at Arkansas now, he's our right fielder. He was DHing that game, but he was like pretty much like when I wasn't playing, like he would DH. Hits a walk off, go ahead home run against Ole Miss, and so I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
like I'm super excited for him,
Did
but
that
I'm
to
like,
us a couple times too.
he did, but I'm like, okay, I mean, I mean, it's got the writing's on the wall. Like I'm not about to play anymore because like I'm struggling. Like, he just hit a 3-run homer, and um, so I end up not playing for like 2 or 3 weeks, dude, in conference play, and I'm like sitting there just kind of learning how to be a good teammate, learning just watching the game. And I remember like watching the games, dude. I just it was I was like when I was watching, I was like, dude, like this is not like it's just normal baseball at the end of the day. Like I'm making this game like so much harder than it actually is. Like at the end of the day, it's it's you versus the pitcher. Yeah, they might have a little bit better stuff, but like you have to still have that confidence that you did when like you were facing guys that in high school or whenever it was. And I remember getting
Yeah.
back in there like the last conference game against Alabama, and I ended up having a pretty good series that weekend, and then it just kind of carried over into playoffs, and I ended up having a really good playoff stretch, and we were fortunate enough to go to Omaha that year. But dude, looking back on it, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. Like it was. I had to fail before I could succeed. Because like, most high school guys that are really talented, like they've never truly failed before. Like they don't know how to handle adversity. And
Yeah.
being able to go through that, dude, I truly believe that I would have not had the postseason that I did have if it wasn't for all the failure I did have earlier in the year. But yeah, dude, it was tough. I remember like just the expectations, like I had to get off social media. But it was all worth it being able to go to Omaha and have the opportunity to help my team honestly be so close to dogpiling and just being
Yeah.
really, really close, a game away. So
Yeah. So in that story, there was a lot of things you touched on, but just if you had to go back and tell yourself kind of at the beginning of your collegiate career, just kind of like, because a lot of people, right, they're in that story and, they're not playing well, they're not playing at all. They let expectations and all these other things kind of get to them. What would you go back and tell yourself if you were 19 years old again, knowing what you know now?
I would tell myself that baseball's not just everything in life. Um,
Yeah.
there's
Right.
so much more than baseball outside of or there's so much stuff in life outside of baseball. You're at the end of the day, like, your parents are still going to love you the same. They're still
Yep.
going to talk to you. Your teammates are still going to love you the same. I think I would tell myself that too. I would say that was the biggest thing. It's like when you don't have to make the game bigger than it is, that's typically when guys I feel like have more success. And I was making these games like this was like it was do or die for me. Like this is the end of the world. Like if I don't do good, then like I'm done. Like it just and it would just eat me up,
Yeah, bro.
dude. And I mean
Yeah.
there was multiple times within my freshman year, dude, where I'm calling my advisor and I'm like, dude, I'm like on the verge. Like this is like straight real, like honest truth. Like I'm on the verge of like crying, dude, because like I don't know what to do. Like
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, and then I feel like the whole world is like all of Arkansas fans, like everybody's just like they know how bad I'm doing. Like, and I would just tell myself, dude, like looking back at it, it's like it's not that big of a deal. Like you're good. It's baseball at the end of the day. Like you were given God-given abilities for a reason, and but also too like those are abilities that He blessed you with, not necessarily what your whole life is about. And I think that like just maturing and being in 3 years of college, it really helped me a lot. Really being able to experience that and go through that to, looking back on it, tell myself like, hey, you got a life outside of baseball. So definitely that.
Well, that's awesome, man. Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing for a lot of guys to hear, or a lot of people that may listen. It's For me, it's to be grounded in something outside of baseball, and especially when I was younger, and even this year in pro ball a little bit, dude. Like when my dad was going through some health stuff, I wasn't playing. I had one of my really good friends pass away in like early July. Like it was really hard to show up to the field some days, and I had so much expectation placed in my value as a baseball player. And when I wasn't, and even when I was, dude, like it was like let's not get that mistaken. Like even when I was rooted in my faith in my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, like even when I had that, like it still was hard, dude. But compared to when I was younger, bro, and when I was at Arizona State, like I didn't have that. Like I was never the guy that would go to Bible studies, or I wasn't the guy that would like invest in time outside of baseball into something that could ground me that had nothing to do with baseball. And it's ironic, like when I started to find that as I got deeper into my college career, like once I got to A&M, it became a matter of I had a really good group of people, and you kind of brought this up to me, but I think a lot of people noticed it with at A&M, man, just the kind of kids that they bring in there. Um, I'm not saying other places are bad or in terms of teammates or the chemistry and all that, but dude, like we had pretty much everybody would come to Bible study, like pretty much there's not one person in 2 years of being there that I wouldn't consider like a best friend or like wouldn't want to hang out with. And that was something that was big for me, dude, was like I felt so grounded in like the higher power and my purpose outside of being a baseball player that allowed me to kind of have that freedom on the field, dude, because like you said, bro, like I remember a lot of times, especially when I was younger, dude, like I'd never experienced failure, like true failure, like a 1 for 20 or like a 0 for 15 or like something like that. And I think that's a big message, dude, to like any younger people that are listening, bro. Like, even if you don't experience it in college, you're going to experience it in professional baseball. Even if you don't experience it in high school, you're going to experience it in college. And it really just comes down to like what you're grounded in outside of the game, bro. Just because, like, somebody told me one time, dude, they're like, you're, if you make it to the big leagues and have a Hall of Fame career, you're still going to fail 70% of the time. So, how are you going to treat people within that 70%? Like, who are you going to be? Like, what type of person, what type of character are you going to be? So,
For
um,
sure, dude. That's
yeah,
awesome.
man.
That's really good stuff. Yeah. I know, I mean, dude, exact same story, exactly what you said. Like I've always like been really, I've always like been a believer and, I've always had like a strong faith, but like really like like my junior year this past year, like I had it was awesome, dude. Like we had kind of like you said, like Bible study, we'd have, 15 guys go to Bible study and, typically if a guy couldn't make it, it was because they absolutely like they had to go to something else. Like it was something that they couldn't
Yeah.
do, whether it was like a school or like study hall, like something like that. But it was really cool to see that and just guys like talking about their faith, and sharing it throughout and stuff. And it was really cool, dude. Luke, he's actually I want to say he moved to Florida now. He got a pastor job there. But yeah, I got baptized
Awesome.
in the fall, and it was awesome, dude. It really helped me like find my true identity, which is in Christ, and it made me just like appreciate the game, and that it's not just like my whole life. Like it's something that I was blessed to be able to do by Him, and so. Kind of to your point, like that's just it's really good to see that throughout other colleges than just Arkansas, and I'm sure there's plenty of colleges that are doing that, and hopefully continuing to go to those Bible studies, and hopefully colleges are going to continue to do that where they don't. So it was good.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. So, would you say that after your freshman year going through those experiences, and I know that you were banged up your sophomore year a good amount, would you say that those experiences early on and experiencing those failures and kind of setbacks and injuries helped you handle it in your junior year this past year when you got drafted and had an All American year, despite not playing for the first bit with a broken foot, I believe?
Yep. Yeah, I mean, dude, I think so. Like, kind of to your point, dude. Like, I dealt with, failure and adversity with the baseball side, really my freshman year. It was like failing at that, like, not being able to, um, come up from like do help my team win, stuff like that in situations. And then kind of my sophomore year was like another learning curve, dude. Like I'm going in, sophomore year is great. Good fall. Coming out the gates, like doing really well in preseason and
Yep.
non-conference, doing good there and stuff. And then, yeah, dude, kind of like the last weekend before conference play started up, shoulder starts bothering me. And, I remember it just progressively kept getting worse, like as I kept playing. And next thing you know, dude, like I'm like, it was actually against y'all. Y'all were my last conference weekend that I played. I remember it was the Sunday game, and I played. Um, I can't remember what happened, but I like it might have been like a double play or like just like a ball kind of up the middle that I tried to like turn and throw, and like I just kind of like looked at my I kind of like made a throw and I was like, all right, like enough's enough. Like I'm like almost like in tears almost from like the pain in my shoulder. And um, next thing I know, it's we get an MRI, whatever, and I tore my labrum. And so that was like a completely different thing. It was like, hey, like you have to be, I've never been away from baseball this long. So it's like, you have a 6 month recovery ahead of you. You got to get surgery. Never have, I mean, I've always been able to play. You have your bumps and bruises being an athlete, been out a couple weeks here and there, whatever, but I've never truly had to
Yeah.
deal with like a major injury. And dude, it really, I mean, it's like one of the biggest blessing in disguises for me. Like that's really when I kind of like saw myself like grow more as like a teammate. Because I couldn't help on the field. I had to do stuff off the field. And I think for me, like the guys appreciated um like okay, so I guess like this kind of is going into my junior year too, but um so like my sophomore year, like I'm like doing all this, whatever, injury happens. Well, so then going into my junior year, like I didn't get to play in the fall. Like I'm like rehabbing, I'm doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
I think guys really appreciated it and they saw how hard that I did work in the training room to get back. And I just remember so many people telling me like, hey, like this is a really hard injury to come back from. Like it's not easy. Like this is hard. Like go look at the, statistics and stuff. And it would make me
Yeah.
so mad. It would make me so mad that people would tell me that it just made me want to like show them that I could like so much more. And I can honestly and truly sit here and tell you, dude, I never missed one rep of any type of rehab I ever did. I never missed any type of like build up, nothing. And I think guys appreciated that. And I think being able for those guys to see that, being able to get voted team captain while not even playing, like that's like, obviously like the biggest compliment that your teammates can give you. It's like, hey, dude, like you're the guy, like you're the guy that we look towards like and if the team's not doing good, stuff like that. And I don't know, dude, but I grew as a teammate that year. So like it was more like adversity and failure with like being not being able to play, like being a better teammate, like doing stuff off the field. And so, when you combine my freshman year with the baseball failure side of it to with that, dude, it really
Right.
like shaped me into, the player and the teammate that I am today. And so it's when it does like it's all this draft stuff, like everything, like I feel like I'm very mature because of everything that I've went through, and I do believe that everything happens for a reason. And all of this has led me to the point to where I am now. But yeah, kind of like you said, broken foot, same thing. And sorry, I know there's a lot of injuries we got to go through, but
No, bro. Yeah,
we
love it.
we had no, yeah. So I'm like, I'm back. I'm back right before season starts, and I'm like, it's go time. Like it's draft year. Like I'm like, this is the best I felt, healthiest I felt, like strongest I've been. My shoulders are looking really good. Like I'm having people compliment me and talk about, dude, your shoulders have gotten big. I'm like, I just did 6 months of shoulder rehab. Like they better look good.
Got
But
you. Yeah, bro.
so like I'm feeling really good. Like it's just the best my body's felt health wise and stuff. Swinging the bat pretty well. Like as far as like BP stuff like that, it just feels good. And
Yeah.
dude, literally second. No, it was the second. It was so we have like an indoor facility, and we'll do like inner squads in there, but it's like we have like a half field, so the infielders will be out there, whatever. We played one of those, and then our next one was outside. So this is my first day back, or first day outside, like in like since I tore my labrum, like all that. I'm like I'm nervous. Like there's like 50 people in the stands. You got your some of like the college students and stuff that come to the scrimmages and stuff and coaches. I'm like nervous. Like it feels like a real game for me. And um,
Yeah.
we're playing. I think it's like 7 innings, and we're playing. It's like the fifth inning, dude. And there was a changeup that was kind of yanked from one of our pitchers, and instant react. It's in college. It's like, hey, you're not like you're taking it. You're getting on base, and so like that was like my initial
Right.
reaction, and I saw it and just froze. Like I wasn't gonna move. Just get on base. Like do pass it to the next guy. Well, dude, it was just crazy. It was a changeup, and it squares me up in the foot, and I remember, in college and scrimmage and stuff, like you stay in. And so like we had like a guy go to first, and I finished out the at bat, and I remember like 3 or 4 pitches later. So like the next pitch, I'm like going to swing, and my foot just is kind of like giving out. Like it's just excruciating pain, and I can't really like land on it. And I'm like, okay, this maybe it's just like I just got hit in a weird spot, whatever. Well, I end up hitting one in the gap, and I make my like way around first, and I'm trying to go to second. I mean, dude, it's like the most easy stand up double like that you could get,
Yeah.
and I don't even make it to second base. Like I'm like halfway between first and second, and they're they already have the ball in, and I'm like something's wrong. Like I'm like limping off the field, and they kind of examine it and stuff, whatever, and they're like, oh, I mean everything kind of looks good. We're just gonna get an X-ray just in case. And the X-ray, dude, yeah, it was a or it was a fracture in my in one of the bones in my foot, dude, and
Oh man.
that injury was honestly worse than the shoulder injury because like I knew something was wrong with the shoulder. Like my
Yeah.
stats, everything was kind of going down. So like I just wanted to know what was wrong. Like there was something wrong. I knew like there was just something going on with my shoulder, and so that was more like a kind of like a sigh of relief. I was like, okay, like there is something wrong. Like I'm not just playing this bad, and so. Um,
Yeah, bro.
so dude, like yeah, so I remember like asking like why me, like why does this have to happen to me? And this like I just remember Coach Van Horn like coming up to me, and he just kind of told me, he was like, hey, like he gave this to you because you're the only person that could handle it. And I just remember like I stopped feeling sorry for myself when he told me that, and I was like, okay, like I'm a leader on this team, like I need to get it together and get back on the field as quickly as I could. And so I was supposed to be on the field in
Yeah.
6 weeks. I was able to come back in 4.5. I just killed it in the rehab room again, training room.
Awesome.
And but yeah, dude, so it was a crazy story, college with injuries and stuff, but I mean, dude, it shaped me into the ball player I am and the person I am today. So
Yeah, man, and I hear it in how you speak. I mean, a lot of guys like a lot of guys don't understand. I mean, everybody. I feel like it makes the story that much sweeter, bro. When you have things that you have to tell that you went through. Like I feel like everybody kind of has their battles and the trials that they face and whatever. But dude, a lot of guys I feel like that I played with. I mean, they just kind of had it, bro, and they were just that good, and they just never really had to. I mean, if they had to struggle, it was for like a couple weeks, bro, and that was it. And
yeah,
I mean, I think that that's the case with a lot of guys, but dude, it's there's this saying, it's like the workmanship is greater than the result,
yep,
and it all that means is like the result would be the big leagues for us, but it's like if you have a great story to tell, dude, like nobody cares about like obviously people care about the guy that gets paid 300 million that just gets up through the minor leagues and hits 30 jacks and hits 300, but it's like the guys that are able to overcome the adversity and the trials that kind of God places into their lives, just because it's so true, dude. It's like that he doesn't give you anything that he knows you can't handle. And so that was evident when I got to meet you, man, as a teammate, and just hearing you speak right now. But that's awesome.
yeah, dude. I think for me, like I kind of what you're saying, like 100%, dude. Like you don't you don't like for me like I didn't I took the game for granted, dude. Like there was a lot of times just because I've played so much and stuff, it was like I like just like didn't appreciate it as much as like I should have. And then dude, I'm out for 8 months, like 6 months, whatever. Like this is like, and I'm like just itching to get back on the field, and I'm like maybe this is like God telling me that like, hey, like I gave you a gift for a reason, like you know cherish it, like have fun with it. Like it's not, don't just go out there and just treat it as like a job. Like have fun. And I don't know, dude. Ever since then, like I've just had a whole different perspective for baseball. It's like it's a game at the end of the day. Like it's not something that we have to do. It's something that we get to do. And
Yeah.
it's been huge for me, dude. But yeah, for sure, I definitely took the game for granted. And I think, with these injuries and stuff, it was like, hey, this was his way of telling me, like, this is something that you were given a gift, like use it. And so it was good.
So was Coach Van Horn, you would say, that mentor that kind of got you through everything, or was there anyone else in particular during your time at Arkansas that you kind of leaned on, that you could look to in times of difficulty and all that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think the two biggest ones were definitely my parents. I'm super close to my dad. My dad,
Yeah.
I've looked up to him my whole life, and I love my mom to death. I'm super close with them, and they've been awesome. I'm very fortunate and blessed to have those two in my life. But other than that, I mean, really, I mean, Coach Van Horn, he just always always made it a point, like even when like my season was over with the labor room, like he made it a point to like still like make me feel included. You know, like you go through an injury like that, like pitchers with TJ, it's like sometimes they probably feel a little excluded because like they're doing their own thing, they're on different schedules with rehab and stuff. They're not truly like with the
Yeah.
team practice and stuff like that. And he just always made me like feel like I was still a part of the team. Like he'd like jokingly write me in the lineup sometimes, and like little stuff like that meant so much to me.
That's awesome.
And but yeah, he was awesome, and he's one of my favorite coaches, if not my favorite coach to ever play under, and he cares about his players. And
Awesome.
he's a really good dude, and I can't thank him enough for what he's done for my career, and the player that he's made me. So
Oh, that's awesome, man. So we're going to kind of take a different route now. What was your favorite SEC play, or not even SEC? It could have been Omaha. Actually, let's take Omaha out of it for a second. What was your favorite place to play at in college baseball?
favorite
You can
place,
include it. Can't be Arkansas.
yeah. Favorite. You said favorite place taking out Omaha.
Taking out Omaha.
Okay. Um, I would have to say it was really two. To me, I would say field wise and just like honestly, like just pure baseball was Georgia. I loved playing at Georgia. I thought their park was
Yeah,
so
bro. That
sick.
was that
I
place.
remember
Yeah,
you. I
I
remember
love
you.
that place.
Yeah, I remember you making you saying something about that in Daytona. And like most people, like when they think of SEC places, they don't think of Georgia, but it's like really underrated, dude. It's a really cool place. Like it's surrounded by trees and it's super cool. But atmosphere wise, without a doubt, dude, either y'all's place at A&M or Alex Box at LSU. I remember we played. Um, when we played y'all, it was honestly both. It was my sophomore year and or I guess it was my freshman year. My freshman year was they were more in the day games, but I remember this past year we faced it was Prager versus Hagen, and we're in like a 2.5 3 hour rain delay,
Ridiculous.
dude. Yeah, pretty good guys, y'all. A lot of people I'm sure know who they are, but it was like a 3 hour delay. Like we were supposed to start at like 7, like we're still sitting around at like 9 o'clock. And next thing you know, dude, there's it's like 9:30 and then finally the game starts, 9:30 or 10. Dude, this place is jumping at like 10 o'clock at night. Like uh
Yeah, bro.
it's jumping and but yeah, that place, that environment was sick. And then up there too, those are my one and two is we're facing LSU my sophomore year, and it was earlier in the conference play, and we have so we played a doubleheader because it rained on Sunday, so we're playing a doubleheader Saturday. So the first game was like kind of in the day, and it was still packed, super loud. But then that night game, so it's the series is 1-1. They're the number one team, we're the number either two or three. Like it's like a top five matchup, and so it's 1-1. We win the first game, they win the second game. Well, then that night, dude, these guys are crawling out of places that like I didn't even know like existed. Like they're sitting in places that like you like didn't even know that they could sit in. Like everybody's just drunk, like just going nuts. And I remember I'll never forget, dude. We're sitting there. It's a close game. I think they're winning by one. It's like late in the game in like the seventh. Like we're hanging on. Like we got a chance to win this game. Well, there's bases loaded, and Tommy White comes up, and Tommy White hits one oppo like he always does. He hits one in the diamond deck out in right field, and
Yep.
the place like it was like the perfect timing. Like it just got dark. You could really see the environment, and I just remember it was really the only like true time in college baseball where like I couldn't like really hear myself think. It was like you hear about that in football stadiums. You never hear about it in
Yeah.
college or baseball stadium. Dude, it was insane. It was one of the coolest.
Oh
I
yeah.
it sucks that it happened to us and we lost, but it was one of the coolest things I've ever seen in my life. Being from Louisiana, dude, like just seeing that environment, it was really, really special to see.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, man. Yeah, dude, box was awesome. It was fun. The only time I went there because I was in the SEC for 2 years, so we went my sophomore year, dude, and my roommate was our right fielder, bro, and like all the fans at LSU were great, like awesome, super friendly, like um, well, I mean, yeah, for the most part when you go on the road in the SEC, right? But dude, I'm playing first, and our right fielder, we come back to the hotel room. We ended up beating him Friday night, and he comes back. He's like, "Bro," he's like, Did you hear what they were saying to me in right field?" And I was like, "No, dude." And I can't say a lot of the stuff on here, but bro, so the next day it was like I was like, "All right, like I'll turn around a couple times, like I'll see like what they got on him," and it was packed. Like every game was sold out. This was when yeah, LSU I think was ranked eighth, and we were not. This was at the time like our that season we went to Omaha, bro. We were not doing good, and we started playing well there, and we turn around, bro, and I turn around and dude, Brett has literally a beer can in his hand, and he freaking grabs it and chucks it back up at them because they were throwing like mayo packets, beer cans, ketchup packets, and he was coming back in, dude. And he had it like all over his uniform, and he
That's
throws the beer can.
unreal.
Bro,
That's
he throws the beer can.
unbelievable, dude. Wow.
He throws it up there, bro, and it like literally swirls and gets like all over the student section, dude. I was dying. I couldn't believe that that was happening, bro. But
That's awesome.
it was
Yeah, that's
crazy.
that's cool. That's like a something that, you'll never forget. I don't really have any stories of those. Obviously, like there's stuff that I've heard and are from my teammates and that I've been chirped at and stuff that can't say on here, but never had like an actual like physical like encounter like that. That's
Oh yeah,
wow.
bro. Dude, I mean, I'm not gonna lie though. I gotta say it, bro. I think top three for me was definitely Arkansas. Even though they got after me, I think better than anybody on my team that weekend. And if it came to dude, I'll never forget it. We get done playing, and I was kind of the start of our. We had a thing at A&M. It was like a curse for our coach, bro. He like couldn't go in-game interviews.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't know if you know where I'm going with this, bro, but I friggin' it's like a routine high chopper that somebody hits me, and I run up to get it, bro, and I'm like, okay, like piece of cake, just gonna catch this, step on the bag, get out of the inning. And dude, I don't know what happened, bro, but this ball, I swear to you, hit like a trampoline on the ground. And next thing I know, it's over my head, bro. I jump, and all I can think about in that moment is my coach's
Yes.
reaction.
I remember
And I'm just
seeing
like,
it on
oh,
social media after, dude. I remember
and I'm
seeing
like,
it.
dude, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I cannot believe. And so I run down, grab the ball, throw it in, whatever, and I just like look in the dugout, and like everybody's faces are just in disbelief, and I'm like, I can't believe that just happened. And there's 15,000 people there, and you got like Hog Noxious like just chirping at me the entire time, dude. And I freaking get home, and I'm like on my YouTube or whatever, and the top video I see is it's like A&M coach dies or like soul dies, and it had like 300,000 views, and it was me that happening, bro. And I was like, dude, that's unbelievable, bro.
I
But
do remember that. Yeah.
I loved it, even though it was, and then it became a thing, bro. Like he was in an in-game interview, and then it happened like three more times throughout the course of the year. Like our right fielder misread a pop up, dropped right next to him. Like somebody hit like a go ahead double against us, bro. Like crazy stuff like that. But yeah, dude, I loved it. I love Mississippi State, bro. That was a good place. I mean, outside of A&M, bro, like I loved A&M. That will always be my favorite place to play.
For
But
sure.
Mississippi State, dude, like I mean, they were hooking us up with like brats and burgers and
Yeah,
hot dogs before the game, dude.
for
I don't know
sure.
if y'all got that treatment, but
Yeah,
that was one
so
of my
yeah,
favorites.
yeah, we did. So they came to us twice. So my freshman, when I was in college, so my freshman junior year, they came to us. My sophomore year, I wasn't playing, so I was just watching. I was still traveling, but I wasn't playing. This is when, for sure, we knew that like the labrum was torn. I was kind of just waiting for surgery. But we played them kind of with the way it was set up. You know how it is, dude. The night environment's just it's different than like the day environment
Different, bro.
in
Yeah,
college
different.
baseball. And I want to say the our maybe the first game was at night, and I think this is kind of when they were struggling. So like there wasn't as many people, but the Friday night game
Yeah.
was pretty cool with their stadium and everything, and how it's set up. And then I think the last two games were like at day or in the daytime, and so
Right.
I really didn't have like that crazy experience from Mississippi State like I have at like LSU or like A&M, like y'all's place. But yeah, it was the food, dude. Everybody, it's like a staple. And when you do go to Starkville and you play, like they like feed everybody. And it's like unbelievable, like
Yeah.
food.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, man. I mean, those were good times for sure, dude. But yeah, man. No, that's awesome. That's good stuff. Well, appreciate having you on, man. It's been awesome hearing more of your story. But we'll get this podcast. We'll get it up in the next couple days.
Sounds good, man. I appreciate it, and thank you for giving me the opportunity. And I guess I'll see you at spring training, huh?
All right, brother. Sounds good.
Thank you for tuning into Approach Pod, where we push boundaries, challenge limitations, and unlock the potential within. Remember, growth isn't a destination, it's a journey. You have the power to overcome, to evolve, and to thrive. If today's episode sparked something in you, don't stop here. Take action, share your thoughts with us, and connect with our community. If you haven't already, subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Until next time, keep it less about the results and more about the approach.